Good to see the Chevra, good to see the Oilam, good to see all the new faces here. We're learning a piece from the Tanya, and for all those that have been with us, we've been learning about God's unity, about God's oneness. And when we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, we have in mind Hashem, you are one. Not just one, like in the category of gods. Oh, there's only one God, but then there's a bunch of other stuff. There's cups of tea, there's tables, there's mountains, polar bears, bumblebees, big pens, what have you. But no, when we say God is one, we mean hardcore monotheism. There's nothing but God. We're all inside of God right now. So the question we're going to have to deal with today, though, is, so why do I see evil? Why do we see challenge? Why do we see, in the language of Kabbalah, klippus, sitra achra, idol worship? If everything is one, if everything is God, so how does that come to be? Okay, that's going to be our topic today. And I'm reading you from the Tanya. This whole week is like the week of the Tanya. And a very strong week for the light, for the energy of the Tanya. So I'm reading from Perek Chaf Beis, from chapter 22. So we just mentioned the last couple weeks together in our learning, we went into the details of God's oneness. And now the Baal Tanya is addressing that question that we just said, which is, if God's oneness is so absolute, well then we need an explanation for evil. So says the Baal Tanya, Rak she'haTorah dibra koloshin b'nei Adam. The Torah speaks in the language of us. The Torah is written for us to relate to. So one of the things that we see from the Torah, v'nikra b'Torah, diburei shel makam ba'ochu. When we see the Torah speak about God speaks. God speaks. Everything is God speaking and things are coming into being. So we understood that and we explained it in the same way that you and I speak. When I speak and I say something, what am I essentially doing, Shane? I'm revealing something which is hidden inside of me that you never knew about, and I'm expressing it. I'm allowing you into my world. And therefore, what was just inside of me is now becoming revealed that I could share with you. That's the process of how God creates creation. Is speech takes that which was just inside of God and it reveals it for a creation to experience. It pulls creation, it creates and allows creation to relate to God. Okay? B'shem dibur mamish, k'dibur shel adam, lefi shebe'emes kach hu. He's adding another point. When it says that Hashem speaks, there's a similarity to my speech as well. When I speak, what am I essentially doing? I'm taking very, very deep integrated concepts that are one with me. It's going from my soul. The soul is then transferring it to my thoughts. My thoughts then take it to the ability, the faculty of speech. And then the faculty of speech, through the 5 utterances of speech, enunciate the speech. So it comes from a very sublime place inside of me, and then it comes out for you to experience. That's why one of the greatest ways to get to know somebody is doing what? Just have a conversation. If you go on a date and you just sit there, googly-eyed, and not say one word, what's going to happen? You're not going to get another date. You have to
be weird like you,
if they're really weird, and okay, but it could be, but we're so deep, there's no place for speech. That's a bit weird. That's maybe 1 in a billion that could actually date like that and not speak, unless people can't speak, and then that's a different story. But I'm saying people can speak, and they're just not. So it's going to be hard to get to know the person, because speech allows you to take concepts that are deep inside of you, and then express and then relate to those concepts. So let's now take that to God. God is taking very deep things that are inside of him. It's, so to speak, coming down through the system of how God made all the worlds. This is real Kabbalah. And then through the worlds, the energy is getting downgraded to the point that it actually can come out as items, as physical things. Okay? Derech Yorida v'hamshachas achiyus l'tachtonim et tzimtzumim rabim v'atzumim eminim shonim That God, so to speak, can then, through the faculty, the quality of speech, take very, very deep, unified essence within God and cover over that light to allow for creation to begin to take existence. Now, by the way, does creation start down in this world? No, creation starts in the highest of worlds. And creation up there looks very, very different. Creation up there is sublime. Creation up there is spiritual. Are the angels created? Angels are spiritual. Are they created? Oh yeah. This is the only physical world. But as you get all the way up there, there's worlds that mirror this world, by the way. That's why we say Malchus to Ara, Daimala, Malchus to Rakia. That a kingdom down here is similar to the way kingdom looks up there. A court system down here is similar to the way a court system looks up there. That's why, for example, when a person, we know from our Sfarim, from the Torah, that there's going to be a court case at the end of a person's life. By the way, there's also mini ones every night when you go to bed. Then there's one at the end of a person's life. Then there's a big, big one before the resurrection. It's cool stuff, right? I know. So they say, what's your name, my friend?
Ari.
Ari, great to have you. So they say, how do you relate to that? Like, whoa, courts? Yeah. Go to a court down here, and you see there's a prosecutor, there's a defendant, and the prosecutor is trying to bring evidence against the person, and the defense attorney is trying to bring evidence in favor of the person, and you hope that your case is strong enough. So you can glean the way that it's going to look like when you start moving up in the worlds. Okay? That being said, as you go higher and higher and higher, creation becomes even more sublime. It's less finite the higher up you go. But the lower down you go, more finiteness until you get to this physical world. You have physical creation. Not just spiritual finite creation, physical finite creation. What do you mean, Rabbi? How is spiritual creation finite? Because it's that particular spiritual concept and not something else. That's itself finite. It's one thing and not the other. Now watch this. Creation can become so covered over and so coarse as it's coming down the system. V'kol kach gavru v'atzma tzimtzum v'hester panim ha'elyonim, and the concealment of God's light. God's light is like a very powerful light. It's like a bazillion suns, but that doesn't even get close to what it is. It's an infinite light. So for you and I, how could we see the sun? You can't. But if you put on sunglasses, or you put on many, many types of sunglasses, then you could maybe look at the sun. But until then, it's very, very dangerous and overpowering. So too, how could you relate to God? He covers over that light until we have a world that we don't just explode in. He doesn't cover it too much that you can't find Him, but He covers it just enough that you can have free will in order to find Him. I just have to tell you a story in the middle here. There's a famous story from the Kedushas Levi. The Kedushas Levi, Levi Yitzchak ben Sarah Sasha. So his grandchildren were playing hide and go seek. A nice game for kids to play. And one of the kids was hiding in a spot, and he found the best hiding spot. You know when you ever had one of those? And you're like, nobody's gonna find it. I found the spot! The spot! And you feel you're stoked about it. And you're gonna get it, boom! I won! So one of his Aniklach, one of the grandchildren found this spot, and he's waiting there. And time's going by, nobody's finding him. Sure enough, after like 2 hours, it's like he pops up, you didn't find me! But you know what the other kids were doing? They were like playing kickball somewhere else. They left the game. Classic, kids game, kickball. So the grandson, the boy, went over to the other kids and he said, that's not the rules of the game. It's hide and go seek. You have to seek until you find me. They said, we tried, we didn't find you, so we gave up. That's not the game. The game is hide and go seek. You have to seek me until you find me. They said, well, we're just playing. That's not the game. It says, I'm going to Beis Din. We're going to court. So who is court? The Zaydin, the Kedushas Levi. So the Kedushas Levi is sitting in the base medrash. He's steiging. He's learning. And one side comes in and he says, you know, we were playing hide and go seek, and the game is that you have to seek until you find me, and they stop playing. And the other side, but we tried, we couldn't find you, and we give up. That's not the game, you have to seek until you find. And they said, but we tried, and so we went to another game. And the Kedusha Levi starts crying. And he says, "Oy, didn't Hashem do the same thing? Hashem is hiding. And you're right. This boy is right. You're supposed to keep looking until you find him. But you guys went off and are playing kickball and Smash Brothers and Netflix and whatever else you're doing to distract you. And you forgot to look. You have to keep looking until you find Hashem." Gewaltig. So Hashem is hiding. Enough that we could find him through free will. Okay, so watch this. The question now is, if Hashem concealed him so much in order to give the free will, it must be that there's a lot of things that seem to imply that he's not here, or maybe are evil. Hashem's being covered over. How does that exist inside of Hashem? So pay attention. Since Hashem is concealing his light so strongly, and it's creating, until God is creating evil things. God is creating everything. But wait a second, he's creating the evil? Okay, here you have to be very attentive to what's about to be said. Do you know why God is creating it? And what evil is called in this world? Evil is called Elohim Acherim. Other gods, lowercase g, from the other side. What do you mean? The other side, it's all from Hashem. Well, watch this. Mipnei, because how does evil, God is one. But how do we look at evil? You're about to see. When it comes to the things of this world that are evil, that are bad, that rebel against God, so to speak, how do we look at those things? We look at them as the opposite of panim. What does panim mean? What is literally the word panim mean?
Face.
Your face. When you give somebody something that you love, how do you give it to them?
To the face.
You face them, panim al panim. When somebody loves somebody, let's say a husband and a wife, and the wife wants to give the husband, make him dinner, or the husband wants to give the wife dinner. So how does he do it?
He faces her.
He faces her. He's, you ever given your mother breakfast in bed? I hope so, Rabbi Isai. You should. After Negavasa. So you bring the, you bring Negavasa also. So you bring the food like this with a, oh, I love you, Ima. You bring it and you're shining. You're shining to the person. Your face is glowing with, this is for you. You give somebody a hug, you're facing that person. You're totally panim al panim. You're facing them. What is one of the greatest signs of disinterest in the person? When you are showing their back. You're literally, this is one of the greatest signs of someone's, you know, not really into what you're saying. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah. Yeah. She says I don't communicate well, but I'm such a good communicator. Come on, let's go. Even if I were to speak to you like this, it would probably feel just insulting. I'm sorry that I'm about to do this. Does this not feel totally awkward and extremely uncomfortable?
Yeah.
How uncomfortable are you right now that I'm talking this way?
Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It literally, the human experience is someone's back to you is very uncomfortable. It doesn't just mean the back. It means I'm disinterested in you. Now you understand that somebody could physically be facing you and also be disinterested, sadly. I saw somebody one time go and hug somebody. They're like, oh, great to see you. They were texting behind the back.
No way!
Yeah, way! They're like this.
No.
I'm so happy to see you. Oh, man. They're facing them. They're even hugging them. But they're literally, spiritually, they turn their back to the person. I one time heard a cute thing, is two people who are sitting right beside each other. but they turn their backs to each other, are the furthest two people in the world to each other. Because they have to go around the entire globe to get to the other person. Because the closer they are together, that's when somebody you're really close and you turn your back to them, it's very insulting. It's very intense. The idea of showing disinterest. So the Baal HaTanya says, what does it mean when something is from the back? The back, disinterested. Evil exists in this world. There's nothing but God. But how does God look at evil? Why is evil in the world? The answer is, imagine the following. This is what the Baal HaTanya is saying. Imagine, God forbid, there's some terrorist. And he has to be kept alive because he's going to be taken to court and gone to trial. So what do? They dig a pit and they keep him, in some place because, they don't want him to get out to, God forbid, do any more harm to the world. But they need to feed him. So do you think the cellmate goes in with like a warm face? Oh, here's your steak. Here you go with a sweet face.
And they shove in a slot and push it in.
They put it in a slot, and the way that it's described is it's like they take the food, they chuck it over their throat, like, take this. Meaning, I'm giving you something, but I'm so disinterested in you. I have to keep you alive for a purpose. There's a reason. There's a reason why this person has to stay alive. But the will, what kind of life am I giving the person? It's such a downgraded life. The life of those that cling to God, God shines His face. Ki bi'or panecha. God is shining Himself to us. But the way that God looks at evil is it's despised. The way that we look at evil is we despise it. It's only here as a means of free will that we can condemn it and we can choose against it. And anything that's concealing God's light, we look at it like it's horrible. And that's why that that he came and he said all these things about Hitler, Yimach Shemo. It's not okay. Because anything which is evil, you have to call it out and you have to say that it's evil. Hashem despises evil. Anything that is covering up God's oneness. Evil is here, Elohim Acherim, to make like others, like there's others. Why does that exist? For free will. For free will. The only reason why there's darkness in this world is to allow for free will. To allow for free will. And for us to choose against it and to choose Hashem. To choose Hashem. And therefore anything which is evil, we have to approach it like acharayim, like we're so disinterested. We have to call it out. Acharayim is from the back, like very bad. And where does the free will get activated? By choosing panim, by choosing to face Hashem. To choose everything which is filled with light, filled with goodness in this world. This is how the Baal HaTanya is opening up the entire topic. Look the way he says it. Aval sitra achar v'tuma hi to'eves Hashem asher sana. This is disgusting. These are disgusting things. Hashem hates it. Hashem's not giving it life like two people that love each other here. He's giving it life like from the back, like despicable and despising it. But there for a purpose. What's the purpose? To choose against it. For us, the creation, to choose against it. To condemn and choose against it. Just like someone who's chucking a bone over the shoulder. And why? Because the fact that evil is here will be such that the wicked ones will be punished because they've invested in evil. And to give great merit to the righteous that go against evil and choose good in this world. This is such a beautiful thing. How and what is our mission? To sum up this world, to subdue and to condemn anything which is coming from the dark side. to run after God, to run after the side of light, to run after love and beauty and goodness and Torah and compassion and sweetness and relationships and intimacy and everything good and halacha, everything pure and good in this world. We should be zoicha mamish to the greatest good, which is the coming of Mashiach and the building of the third base of Mikdash. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful day, Rabbi Isai. Kol tuv. Kol tuv. Chazak ve'ematz.